Hello, everybody, and welcome to Power P. I'm the host, Lady E, and I want to thank our special guest for coming on tonight and also our co host here, our lovely co host. Um, just want to thank all of our viewers for watching tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And we have our Power P show every Friday nights at 8 p.m. And we also have one of our segments that we do. We do asking for a friend. So you can email your questions to powerpwomen@gmail.com. And we also have our regular Clockwatch podcast every Sundays and Tuesday nights at 9:10 p.m. and which are a lot of fun. You should definitely check out Wednesdays. We did it Wednesday this week just because of the election and all that crap. So Wednesday night was hilarious. So if you didn't catch that one, definitely check it out. We have a In Your Face podcast hosted by Ritalin every Saturday and Monday nights at 8 p.m. He talks about the Buccaneers football players, so make sure you tune in for that. He's very educated on football and all that shit. And then also we have coming soon. We have a couple new shows coming out, so I hope you guys stay tuned for these shows. I think people posted a little bit of clips on the Clockwatch page. And we have The Professional with Big Kev that's coming out, and The Raid with King Clips, and also another new segment called Black Thoughts with Black Earth. All of us are having shows coming out soon. Tweet, are you next? Are you going to have your own show coming out?
Possibly. Debauchery.
I was about to say how to pour vodka into a water bottle so no one notices.
Yes.
Like drinking hacks with Tweet. These are the ways to go anywhere and get drunk secretly.
Love it.
So yeah, definitely stay tuned for those shows because they're gonna be a lot of fun. And also, sorry, hold on. I'm gonna hide that. We have some comments coming in. Let's read those real quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sweet. Introduce yourself. Oh my God. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope everybody had a great week and are happy to reach Friday. And you know what time it is. It's Box Wine Friday. So I'm excited to see everybody's comments and respond to them and have Ryan back on the show for some interesting topics tonight. You're up, Ryan.
Well, thanks, guys, for having me back again. Last time was a blast, and so I hope we have as much fun this time. For those of you who did not see the last show I was on, I'm Ryan CRC. I'm a certified relationship coach, and I specialize in sexual education. I'm also an equal rights advocate and rationalist. I have videos on YouTube and Facebook under Ryan CRC, a series on Instagram called Better Sex in 60 Seconds under CRC Ryan. And I just recently published a book called Have Sex Longer, which teaches men 5 easy ways to last longer in bed. You're welcome, ladies. And you can get that as an ebook or as a paperback book from Amazon.
Awesome. Can I just buy that just to have in my house?
Yeah.
For the challenge people.
Well, that's the beauty of it is I originally intended it as an ebook because it's kind of small. And I'm like, but they make it so easy to do a paperback. So I just went ahead and made it a paperback too. And it's only like 61 pages in paperback. So you can just like stick it on the coffee table and,
I like it.
But
I'm
pretty psyched about the topics tonight. There's some juicy topics that we're going to be discussing. So if you're squeamish, too fucking bad.
And if
You
you
are
don't
done.
like sex, this is not the show for you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I have no filter.
Oh, I did want to say, Ryan was so kind that he made me the shirt that I'm wearing tonight. I wanted to point that out. He made it for me,
Ooh.
mailed it to me and everything. So let me show
Aw,
you.
that's so nice.
I know, right? Let me show you what it
Get
says.
the girls in the video.
It
What does
says,
it say? I'm speaking.
I'm speaking.
Yes.
When Camilla Harris said
you.
that, I was like, I'm making that for on a t-shirt, you know.
I love it.
Hold on just a second. For those,
I love this shirt. I love it. And it makes my boobs look amazing.
Well,
It
you're
really
still in
does.
Florida weather, Lady E. In New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Well, this weekend's going to be in the high 60s and high 60s and 70s, but that's rare because I had my heat on for like the last month because it's been freezing. So
it really does.
I'm in sweats and a t-shirt and I'm bundled up at night.
Well, we had our first cold spell
Nope, not me.
earlier in the week, which means that it dipped down to the 50s overnight, but it was back up in the 60s in the morning. But that shirt does make your boobs look awesome. But this is another one I made. It says, would you shut up, man? And it's got a picture of Joe Biden's sunglasses.
I love it.
So, you know, these are, you know, because it's like, how many millions of people have just wanted to say that, you know, to him? Just shut up, you know. But
let's get to some of these comments. I see them rolling in.
Get the show on the road.
Hey, Eddie.
Yeah, they're definitely rolling in. Eddie, what's up, Eddie? We are in the house, acting a fool. Quincy, hi, Quincy.
I remember Quincy.
Hi,
Quincy was here last time.
Yep. He's one of our regulars, one of our regular fans, and we love having him here. His comments are hilarious. He says, just getting off work. What a busy week.
You have no idea.
Yeah, definitely. Brandon is here. He says, what's up, Eric? I mean, Lady E. Ha, ha, ha. You're so funny.
He's trying to call you out.
If you watched Wednesday's podcast, you would definitely know what he's talking about. So he says, sup, tweet, and the doc is back in the building. Yeah. And then Quincy, who is that in the top right? Ooh.
Hi, Quincy. Happy Friday.
We got a little.
What's up, Miguel?
What's up, Miguel? Hi, girls. What's up, Ryan?
Hi, Miguel.
I don't have a problem lasting long in bed, says
That's
Brandon.
Is that like a problem? You can't? We'll get to that later.
I think he's saying that he can last long in bed. So he already can. He doesn't have a problem with it.
Oh.
So he can
Gotcha.
That's how I'm interpreting what he said.
Okay. Lady E, you're frozen.
Yeah, you're like
you
the third.
You froze, Lady
E. He just wants to let all the ladies out there who's watching, you know, he doesn't have a problem lasting long.
You cut out, Lady E, for a while, so we missed anything that you said.
Can you see me now, though?
Well, yes, we can hear you now.
I don't think I said anything.
Okay. But I can hear you, yeah.
Am I still frozen?
No.
Am I frozen?
No, you're not frozen.
No.
We can hear you.
Okay, cool. Anna's here. Montana's in the house.
We miss you,
us.
Montana.
Miss my girl. We miss you so much. We love you. And we have Facebook user. See you next time. Okay.
Whoever
Thanks.
you are.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for joining us for 10 minutes.
for
Appreciate
our
that.
introductions.
Right.
Well,
Quincy says,
if you need help, check out my book. The ebook is only $4.99. It's a quick read. I developed them personally, and I mean, I use the methods myself because when I was a teenager, it was like, you know, one and done. It was like I was like a minute man, and I didn't like that shit. So now it's more like the opposite. Now women are like, "Would you just come already?" It's like, "I'm fucking you," you know. And it's like, so yeah, the tips are pretty simple. You just have to find what works for you, but they worked for me. So
All right. Quincy, you need some help? Like what? Explain.
awesome.
well,
Yeah,
a
so
lot of it
definitely
is about
all the guys watching
having control. I'm sorry.
the help I can.
A lot of it is about having control over your own sexuality and your own manhood, and not being a slave to, you know, to a quick orgasm. You want to be, a man wants to be able to control his orgasm so he can come when he wants to, not when friction says he has to. You know.
Right. I like that.
Got it.
You know, you want to be the master of your own cock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to be in control of your body and know your body really well to be able to just. Quincy says, LMAO, not to be a guy, but I think you only wear things that make them look good.
If I had nice breath like her, I would too.
I try. It's actually
old age
in
is
my
setting in over. Old age is
contract.
setting in over here.
I have to wear
Show us
things
your
like
boobs.
this. Show us your tatas. Free the tatas.
I'm a big supporter of free the nipple movement.
All right. Am I still? Oh my god.
No,
Am I still frozen? I feel like
no,
I'm, like,
you
lagging
just
a little.
you keep cutting out in and out a little bit, but you're okay.
You'll lag for a couple of seconds and you'll catch back up. And
Okay. So we have another comment from Quincy.
Oop, no comment. You should elaborate on your response before. but we'll just move on. We'll move on.
All right. Let's get to our first topic of the night. Hopefully my Wi-Fi
Yeah, you keep cutting in and out, lady.
Will let me hear the whole answer to this. All right. So I'm going to post, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, but here's the first topic of the night. For women, does anal sex feel the same with every man? Is it possible to enjoy it with one and not the other?
okay. So the first thing I want to say is that regardless of, because there's a lot of misconceptions, anal sex is oftentimes tied almost exclusively to gay men, but anal stimulation is biological. The anal area is sexually innervated along with the genitals via the pudendal nerve. So it doesn't matter whether you're male, female, gay, straight, transgender, none of that matters. The anus is an erogenous zone. In men, we have the prostate gland that is accessed through the rectum, and that can serve, that's oftentimes called the male G spot, that can serve as a secondary erogenous zone after the anus. Okay, we just lost Lady E.
You can go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, can she hear me?
I don't know. I think she's off for now, but you can keep going.
Okay. Lost my train of thought.
The erogenous zone.
The erogenous, yeah. So both men and women can enjoy anal sex, but that doesn't mean that everyone does. Just like some women and some men like nippular stimulation and others don't. Some women like clitoral stimulation, some don't. Some like vaginal stimulation and some don't. Were you able to hear me, lady?
No.
Okay.
Do I
Basically,
sound
just
better though? Do I sound better?
yeah, you sound much better. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
What
Thanks.
I was saying was that anal stimulation is a biological fact for people, regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. It doesn't matter if you're man, woman, gay, straight, none of that matters. I'm saying that because it's going to come into play in a minute when I get deeper into the answer here. So, because the anal area is innervated along with the genitals via the pudendal nerve, people can sexualize the anal region. But that doesn't mean that it's sensitive in everyone. Okay. So we're all wired a little bit differently. You know, even though the majority of women have sensitive nipples, not all women do. Around 24%, I think, of men actually have sensitive nipples, and they enjoy erotic sensation around the nipples, but a lot of them don't. So as I already said, since you were gone, I'll just repeat real quick. Much in the same way that some women like clitoral stimulation and others don't, or vaginal stimulation and others don't, the same is true of anal stimulation. So if a man is trying to talk you into having anal sex or pressure you or whatever, if you've already experimented with anal sex, particularly on your own during masturbation, and you've used your finger and you used a toy and you've done this, and if you don't like it, then you're just not wired to like it. You know what I mean? It's like your body just does, your brain does not respond to that sensory input. Okay, what's up, Quincy?
No, he's going back to what we were talking about before.
Oh, okay.
I see you, Quincy.
Okay. So if you, I was gonna. Do I have to explain what the asshole is? You know.
No.
So, well, Eddie. The thing is that a lot of men are always trying to talk women into having butt sex, and they're like, "Oh, you've never tried it with me, and I'll be better than the other guy, and blah blah blah." But if you've already experimented with it and you don't find it to be pleasurable, then that's just the way that you're wired. Your brain is not going to perceive what those nerve endings as being erotic or an erogenous zone. If, on the other hand, you do on occasion enjoy, and some people like different types of stimulation. That's why I try to say stimulation instead of sex. Some people like analingus, which is licking the asshole, or they might like a finger, or they might like something a small penetration but nothing too big, or they might like something really big and they don't care if they have their ass licked. So everything, so again, every person can have a respond to stimulation differently. Okay. So if you are someone who on occasion does like penetration, then the man that you're sleeping with or how he performs can, of course, influence how you respond to sex. To use a personal anecdote, I slept with a transgender woman one time, and when I was in a doggy style position, I let her fuck me in the ass. Now, I'm one of those people that I prefer analingus. I like to have my asshole licked, and only on occasion do I like penetration, and usually it's something small and that vibrates. But she was much bigger and was much more aggressive. So I got on all fours, and she just like rammed her cock in my ass, and I was like, "Okay,
Oh
no,
God, Jesus!
thank you, take it out."
Oh my God!
But that same night,
No caressing, no nothing.
I know. It's like at least
Just,
I'm the one. I was gonna say at least buy me dinner. I bought her dinner.
yeah,
And she's
fuck.
sticking her dinner. But then I flipped over on my back, and she put me in an up and over position, so my legs were over her shoulders. I'm
Lady
getting.
E, Lady E, you're so lagged. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
I hear laughing, but I don't see laughing. So
Yeah, she's very lagged.
But can you hear me, Lady E? Yes, you can hear me. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So I rolled over and I let her enter me face to face. This is a very different position, even though it's the same person with the same penis. Now the upward curve of the penis is hitting my G spot, my prostate gland. Her stomach is gently rubbing against my genitals, which is sexualizing the anal sex. And that's very important. You want to sexualize anal sex by stimulating your clit or vagina, or in my case, a testicle and penis. But most important to me, and this was an extremely, the word escapes me, but it was an eye-opening experience. Being able to kiss her and be face to face while she was inside me was extremely intimate. And I've never experienced that level of intimacy because I've never had anyone inside me before. So
Ryan, I just want to cut you off just for 1 second. I just want our viewers to be respectful of what Ryan is expressing and saying. Please don't be degrading or an asshole in our fucking comments, because I will come after you. So I just want to say that, because people are very pleasantly surprised by what you're saying and expressing. So I just want people to be mindful that we don't do that shit here.
We don't judge. We're not judging. We don't do that. So if
just listen,
we're very
and
open-minded.
take it in. Yes. So
well, I appreciate that tweet, and I know that a lot of people are going to be,
I think that we have a lot of surprised viewers by what you're saying. So I just wanted to interject. So I apologize.
But I do, to be perfectly honest, being a sex educator, it's my moral obligation to be honest and not hide things that I advocate. So if I've experienced this in my personal life, I'm going to talk about it, especially if it can help other people.
I like
it. So thank you for saying that, though.
Keep going.
But it was the point is ultimately that by changing the position, it changed the sexualization of the act. She was more sensitive. It changed the level of intimacy. So as much as I didn't like it in the first doggy style position, I actually let her fuck me twice, and she came twice fucking me in a missionary or an up and over position, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing. If you didn't hear me, E, I'll repeat myself real quick. Even though I didn't like the doggy style position, I let her fuck me twice in the missionary position, and she fucked me twice and came both times, and I really enjoyed it. But again, I do on occasion, when the mood strikes, I do like anal stimulation. If you're someone who does on occasion like anal stimulation, then the man you're with or what he does may come into effect. You might try lying on your back. That way, when he's on top of you, his pelvic area, his pubic bone is rubbing against your clit, if he's in the right position. So he's sexualizing, and he can kiss you, and you can do all of these other activities. And obviously, since you ladies have vaginas, you already know what it's like to have someone inside you, and you don't need anal sex to feel that intimacy. But I have a penis, so I do.
I have a question though. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. So you said you only like it on occasion. So how do you determine if when you like it and when you don't? Like, do you try it and be like, oh, not today, or you just know your body?
Yeah, it's just like your body tells you, just like when you get horny, I can like, oh well, I'm starting to get a slight erection. Or for you women, you might feel like a greater sensitivity in your nipples or your clitoris. Your clitoris, of course, is made up of the same corpora cavernosa, the same erectile tissue as the penis is, so you guys get the same sensation. So it's like that, but anally, you get like a feeling like, oh, I think I might enjoy some anal stimulation. Like those nerve endings start to like speak up. You know what I'm saying? And and it's like any kind of like any craving where it's like, oh, I want chocolate. It's like, well, I want to stick something up my ass. But
I'm gonna say that I have never had anal sex. It has been attempted, but it has never been successful enough that I've actually encountered it. Rather, a finger, yes,
okay.
that is good. I know that there are ways to go about having anal sex that men think it's just ramming your dick inside your ass and it's 1, 2, 3. No, like there are ways to go about having anal sex and they don't get it sometimes.
Well, and a lot of it though is
and
about.
I'm not speaking for all men, but I think that vast majority just want to ram their dick in your ass like it's your vagina, and it's not. It's a completely separate component of your body. That shit is so much tighter than your vagina is.
Right. Well, there's a couple of ways around that. One is communication. I'm guilty of that. When I was a teenager, my high school girlfriend, the girl, that I lost my virginity to, and we were like, I was 16 and already using handcuffs and whipped cream, and we were doing all sorts of shit. With her, I could just stick my dick right in her ass and it was okay. The next girl, so naturally, I just thought that was okay. So the next girl, I got halfway in and she's like, it hurts, take it out. I was like, okay. Now,
I'll run fast.
20, what is it, 30, however old I am, almost 30 years later, 25 years later, my ex-girlfriend, actually the last two people I was with, was just like, stick it in already. My ex-girlfriend was like, fuck me would you just stick it in? Just fuck me in the ass. And it's like, I'm trying, but you won't let me in. It's like, you have to relax and open up enough to let me in.
See, I don't relax. I'm like this.
Yeah. So you do have to communicate.
I've tried it
you're having terrible connection. Okay.
Yes, twice. One time.
You're breaking up so bad. I only got the twice part.
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up.
You got a terrible connection.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, there she goes. Oh, what's going on in Tampa?
We are expecting a hurricane, but not yet.
I heard. We have my business has a Florida office in excuse me. God, I'm like having a brain fart. But anyway, they told us that they are expecting, so we might have to cover their calls.
In Buena Vista?
In Boca. I apologize. Boca, yeah. So they told us Monday that we might have to like cover their calls and stuff like that. So be prepared.
Yeah, they still don't know it. They've made half a dozen predictions, and they don't know when the damn thing is coming. But we'll see. But you do have to you definitely do have to communicate. And another thing, we kind of mentioned this before the show started, but they do literally have starter packs.
Mm-hmm. You could get. I just recently had a sex toy party at my house. Okay. And one of the toys in the package was like an anal set. It was like 3 different sizes for you to get ready to have anal sex.
Those 3 different sizes, they were probably butt plugs. And those are brilliant. And I had a girl who loved it when I would use, because what I would do is I would use something that was similar in size to myself or maybe slightly smaller, but it's as big as me maybe at the base, but of course because it's a plug, it's spade shape. So the tip of it's very narrow. It's much narrower than my penis.
Mhm.
So it goes in and it opened her up and it loosened her up really well. So then, and she enjoyed that in and of itself. But, then of course it allowed me to enter her much more easily and we can enjoy the anal sex more. Do not use a toy that is corkscrew shaped.
Okay.
You will literally screw the shit out of the person.
Thank you for that pointer.
Yeah, do not do that. That is, I made the mistake of doing that. It was a glass toy. It was corkscrew shaped. It looked really fun. I stuck it up her ass, and when I pulled it out, it was caked in shit.
Oh God!
So
See, that is my worst fucking fear. I like the pain might be minimal compared to what would I encounter afterwards. I think that it would really have to be with somebody that you're really intimate with and you're in a full relationship with. Because I don't know if I could just do it on a whim and be like a quote unquote one night stand and just get fucked in the ass and then whatever happens.
I am right there with you. I think that mentally,
that needs to be somebody.
It mentally fucks me up more than like the pain, I think. Just because it's like, I don't know, it's just, but I've tried it. Well, what I was saying before, am I much clearer now?
Yeah, much better.
Yes.
All right, cool. I had to like restart my whole Wi-Fi, but so what I was saying before, I've tried it twice. Okay. The first time I did it, it was like a really long time ago. But I was also on ecstasy, and everything feels good on ecstasy. And I was like, oh, I love it. Love this. This is amazing. And then I tried it again, like after like the ecstasy wore off, and I was like, nope, no. I was like, this is not the same. Stop, get out of it.
You feel no pain or anything with ecstasy. Everything is a sensation.
I know. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Maybe that's what I need when it comes down to it.
Well,
give me some ecstasy.
So wait, the second time I did it was years and years and years after that, and I was like, all right, well, let me try it, because the guy that I was with was really into it, and I was like, all right. And the only reason why I tried it was because he had a little dick.
That makes sense, though.
What?
That makes sense, though.
Right. And I was like, all right. I mean, it's a little like, I'll try it, whatever.
You still didn't enjoy it?
No, I didn't. I did not. And I've tried fingers, I've tried licking, everything. Like, it's not like with different people, whatever, but I'm just like, no.
You're just not wired, biologically speaking, to enjoy it. And I want to address that in just a second, because I want to get to the second part of the question. But to continue with what I was saying, the way I handled the situation after the shit covered toy is, she was really embarrassed, but I just went and washed the toy off, and then I came back to bed and fucked the shit out of her, and she was no longer embarrassed.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I did that, I responded that way, is because I had a friend who was much older, and she was telling me about how she was with a man, and the first night they were together, thank you, Eddie, appreciate that. I take that as a compliment. The first night that they were together, she was drinking, and when she went down on him, she gagged and threw up all over him. So what he did was
There's been a few occasions I might have done that too.
So she said that that's when you need the guy with the little dick too, so you don't get.
Yeah.
See, little
guys with little dicks.
Huh?
I don't fuck with guys with little dicks.
No, I think that was the last time I dealt with the little dick, because I was like, damn.
I've dealt with one in my life, and I would never go back. I'm like, can I look at your dick size before we even talk? And maybe that's why I'm not so into the anal sex, because I look at the size of their dicks and I'm like, no, not happening.
Well, actually,
you could do a finger, not
the last video I posted was on does size matter, and it addresses that question, how women view penis size. But the reason why I said that is because the woman, after she threw up on him, he washed himself off and washed her off, and then he went and fucked the shit out of her, and she said that was the best possible way he could have responded. So that's what I did, and it worked. So my advice,
it matters.
Oh, lady, you're still lagging.
Yeah. It sounded like she said, "Oh yes, it matters."
Yeah, yes. I just want to mention, in regards to that, you know, us women, we have a pH balance in our vaginas, and taking your penis and sticking it inside of our ass and then putting it inside of our vagina.
You should never do that.
Never, ever do that. Ever.
You should never, ever do that.
Ever do that. So for the men who don't know, you should never do that. Go clean yourself. If that's a circumstance that you're dealing with, woman, clean yourself, come back, and then finish the thing. But you should not ever take from one hole to another.
Yeah, and that goes because the bacteria that's in the anus and rectal area,
that'll just rip your vagina to shreds.
Yeah, it is not compatible with anything else. Like I slept with a woman, and after I was fingering her ass, and then she was like, "Give me that finger," because she wanted to suck on my finger, and I was like, "No." I was like, "No, I was like, it was in your ass," and she was like, "So it's my ass," and I'm like, "No, the bacteria."
Oh my God, no.
The bacteria in your intestines is not compatible with the bacteria in your gut. So even though it's your own shit, it's taken on a life of its own. So yeah,
absolutely
it should never go in your mouth or in your vagina or in another person's asshole for that matter, or like your own. Asshole. Like don't double dip, basically. Now you can go from vagina to mouth, or vagina to ass, but once you go ass, that's a one-way trip. Then you have to wash, and the same thing goes with toys. Now, if you want to do that, maybe wear a condom when you have the anal sex, and then you can take the condom if you're with someone that you're fluid bonded with.
That's a good suggestion.
You can take the condom off and then go vaginal. When Lady E comes back, I want to address. We've kind of digressed into this very far, but I want to touch on this other subject because it feeds into what she was saying and concerned about how men might try to talk her into something that she knows that she doesn't enjoy doing.
Agreed. I'm trying to see if I can get to some comments here, but I'm not 100% on top of all of this and how you do it, so I apologize. But let's try to see can you elaborate on a little more of something else while I try to figure this out?
Sure.
I'm sorry to our viewers trying to figure it out. Lady E is not available, and I don't know how to work this damn thing.
Well, to stick with the same theme, like we were alluding to earlier, if you do want to try anal sex, there are lube is very important, but you have to know what lubes to use on what toys, or if you're using fingers or penises. But they do sell starter kits. Usually they'll have 2 or 3 sizes of butt plugs or dildos that you can go small, medium, and large. And this helps you graduate and prepare a woman for something that's closer to the size of your penis. Also, there are singular toys where the toy itself is tapered in such a way that it might have balls on it, or it might be a string of balls where the balls get gradually larger. So again,
and then you pull them out. You do the same thing with the vagina, and you can pull them out, right?
Well, in this case, what you're doing is you're gradually inserting something smaller than something bigger than something bigger than something bigger. Okay. So that way you're developing. It's the same idea. It's just that you're using one toy instead of multiple toys. But some people don't like the ripple effect of some toys, and some people do.
You're back, Lady E?
Yeah, hopefully for good. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know how to work anything, so I can't get to any comments. So I apologize to everybody if anybody's writing and listening. I gotta figure that out one of these days.
So if
I can. Yeah.
If you have a man who, if you're not interested in anal sex, and you already know this because you've already experimented, but your man wants to try it, and he, one thing you have to explain to him is that, again, you've already experimented, you've explored it, with yourself. You already know that you're not wired for that. You're simply just not into it, because your body doesn't respond to it. It doesn't matter who is doing it or what's going in. Your body does not have sensitive nerve endings or sexualized nerve endings in the in the anal area. Your brain doesn't process anal stimulation in a sexual context. So that's not going to change. It has nothing to do with him. It's not a comment on his technique or his skill. That's your biological reality. Now, you can also try the approach of, okay, I'll make you a deal. You can fuck me in the ass if I can put a strap on and dildo on and fuck you in the
ass. Oh, trust me, I have used that one before. And usually they're like, okay, let's do something different.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you say is, how would you like it if I were to pressure you into me fucking you in the ass if you don't want to?
Right, exactly. Like now, women do not want to be pressured in the bedroom to do anything like that they don't want to do. Like,
now, if he says, sure, go ahead, then that approach failed. But hey, you might like fucking him in the ass, so it might be okay.
Oh, I know I'll like that. I'll be like, yeah, this is all for all you motherfuckers out there.
Now, another thing is very easily you can say, oh, sweetheart, you're just too big to fit in there. And, and that way you can sort of.
I do. I try that. I was like, look, it's like literally this big. Okay. Your finger won't even fit in it. So don't even try.
I don't recommend this, to be honest, but there are numbing creams that you can rub on that would take away some of the surface pain, but I don't recommend it because the pain is letting you know something. So if you don't feel the pain, then he could hurt you, like injure you, and you wouldn't know it. And I don't think that those numbing creams are not going to work on the muscular level where everything is being stretched. They're more superficial for the skin, so they would be very minimally helpful anyway. So ultimately,
why would you want to put numbing cream on something where you want to feel pleasure? It's going to numb the whole pleasure part. So like, what's the point for me?
Well, men usually put it on their penis so they can last longer in bed.
Oh, I see.
I personally, again, to me, it's not very wise, because like you said, you need to feel it, not just for pleasure, but for safety reasons. And if your penis is numb and you're thrusting in and out, well, what happens when you slip out and then you thrust and you thrust into her groin?
And you break your dick.
And then you break your dick.
Here is a note from personal experience to all men. If your woman, especially, I did this when I was in a doggy style position, she loved to have her ass smacked. So as I was thrusting, I smacked her ass, and she clenched her vaginal muscle so tight, it bent my dick. It sucked. It hurt. So this is a free lesson to all men. Do not thrust inside the woman at the same time that you're going to smack her ass. Trust me. Her vaginal muscles can push out a baby, so they can bend your dick, no matter how big or manly you think you are.
Called Kegels.
Those pubococcygeal muscles will bend your dick. And I was okay after the shock wore off and I regained my erection. But I learned a lesson, which is to stop thrusting and pause for a second and then smack her ass and then go back at it. You know what I'm saying? But
listen, I just recently heard a story of somebody that broke their dick during sex.
Yeah.
And they had to go for surgery for like 3 or 4 hours surgery to fix their dick.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
can,
oh my God.
I mean, unlike the name boner, there is no actual bone, but
No.
the as we mentioned before, the corpora cavernosa, the columns of erectile tissue, they can basically pop, and that's not the worst part. If you don't get it fixed, it will turn gangrenous and it will be amputated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Watch out, man. Watch your
if you
dicks.
don't, wow, if you don't go to the doctor because you're like too ashamed or embarrassed because your dick is
You'll
broke.
lose it.
Yeah.
So that's why I promote my book, because my book doesn't tell you to put numbing cream on your dick, you know, and risk hurting yourself just so you can last longer. You know, there's better ways. I'm gonna try that now. Thrust and smack. I ain't scared. All right, you've been warned.
Of course you are, Ritalin, please.
You've been warned, my friend.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
But yeah, if the man is pressuring you, and you have to explain to him, look, I've tried it before in numerous ways. My body isn't built for that, to enjoy that, so I don't want to do it. If he continues pressuring you, that's no different than him pressuring you to have sex or him pressuring you to suck his dick if you don't like to do that. It's the same thing. So, he's still pressuring you. He's not respecting your feelings, your wishes.
Right.
He's trying to, and for most men, it's just a novelty. I mean,
of course.
There's the ass. I've had so much anal sex, and I can tell you that it's not better than vaginal sex. I mean, it depends, of course, on the woman and how the woman is structured, but her asshole might feel better than her vagina. But for most men, it's more about the novelty. She let me fuck her in the ass. Well, after you fuck a few women in the ass, it's kind of like the novelty wears off, and then it's more about, you know how much cleanup I have to do now.
Yeah. And like, who wants to stop in the middle? And like, if you're all passionate and stuff, you have to stop in the middle to go clean it and like come back and like that whole thing. Okay, I'm done now. Like, you want to be in the moment. You have to clean yourself. Hopefully,
we mentioned that while you were gone. That
you don't
you have to stop and clean and come back. There's not. Yeah. You can't just take it from one into the other.
No,
you can go. You never go ass to mouth or ass to vagina. So the ass, if you're gonna have anal sex, that should be your last stop in Sexville. You know what I mean? That should be the last. That's like you're wrapping up the evening. You're sweaty, hot messes. You're gonna go take a shower. So, that's when.
But I don't think that some men realize that. Like, you can't do that. Like, it's just not clean. It's not.
No, you can't.
It's just disgusting.
No.
And
women will get
some men will take it like straight from your ass to your vagina, like it's nothing, or attempt to do that, and it's not okay, and it's not cleanly or clean.
The same thing goes for fingers. Men need to realize there's a reason why women, when they use the bathroom, wipe front to back. Okay. Right. Yeah. The anus is very close to the introitus, and the introitus is the vaginal opening, and lips, of course, the labia can trap in bacteria too. So even if you're fingering a woman in the ass, do not even use that same hand. Switch hands if you're going to finger her pussy after fingering her ass, because you really want to get, like if I'm using, let's say, my middle finger in her ass, I don't want to stick my index finger in her vagina and then risk having the fecal matter from my middle finger rub against her introitus or labia, because that can cause infections. And especially if, it's just not sanitary. It's very bad for the vaginal environment. It can cause infections. Don't go from ass to mouth either. And I'm very, I actually, even though I'm saying all this and I do all this stuff, I'm actually, believe it or not, a germaphobe. But that gets sort of put on hold when it comes to sex. When it comes to sex, I'm kinky as hell, but I don't do things that are unsanitary. So like I'm fingering my girl's ass and I'm fingering and I pull out and I got shit all over my fingers, and that I'm fine with that. But when I go to like fuck her from behind, and she wants me to like strangle her or choke her while I'm fucking her, I'm gonna hold her neck with my other hand. This hand that was in her ass, it's off in like a room by itself. You know what I mean? It's like completely away. I don't want to rub it on my pillow. I don't want to get fecal matter in her hair. You know what I mean? It's like, be conscientious.
Let's move on to the next topic because I gotta move on.
You can pretty much.
I think we covered this topic enough for the evening.
Now you can get saliva or vaginal juices pretty much anywhere, but not even urine, but not fecal. That's All right, let's move on.
We're not doing any R. Kelly shit over here.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on that topic.
Yeah, that was much longer than I thought. So that's my fault. I apologize.
It's okay. It's all right.
That's okay.
Our next topic is, if there's no physical chemistry, can you build it, or should you walk away before you get in too deep?
Okay. So what is chemistry, first of all? Chemistry is basically, it's two things. It is the feeling of being sexually or romantically drawn, attracted to your partner, and they feel the same way. It can't be a one-way street. For chemistry to work, both people have to be kind of equally into each other and vibing on each other. I don't want to use it's really about compatibility, but I don't want to use that word because I'm going to use compatibility in a second. I don't want to confuse them. Now, we oftentimes, this feeling of what we call chemistry, it then relates into the brain in terms of neurochemicals, mainly dopamine, phenylethylamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, these oxytocin. These are your feel-good drugs. Okay, this is what makes you feel high. It's what makes you feel in love. It's what, this has a lifespan of about 2 years, people. Okay. The chemistry,
2 years.
2 years. Being the chemistry that you feel with someone or being in love or in lust doesn't last very long. Again, we are not programmed. We're not meant to be lifelong pair bonders. What we're meant to do is have multiple partners because we're social creatures. That should be self-evident, but I won't go into that, or else we'll be here all night.
That's interesting. I like that topic. We should definitely touch on that one.
And we should. And the reason is because the idea of monogamy is extremely oppressive, especially to women, and it destroys. It makes women stay in toxic relationships because they think they're supposed to. It makes women do things and makes men do things instead of being happy. They stay in abusive, destructive relationships. It has a horribly suppressive effect on your sex life and your love life. It's like, well, I'm not being satisfied, but because I've already slept with this person and committed myself, I have to stay with them. Well, no, you don't, because monogamy is a lie that Disney has tried to teach you, and that Puritans and Catholics have tried to teach you, whatever. But again, so yes, it's a very big and very, very important topic that we should definitely talk about, but not now. My point is, it is actually better for you to develop compatibility with a person if you're talking about a relationship. And the question presupposes that you're already in a relationship.
Right.
Sometimes people start off with chemistry. But if you start off with chemistry and you hear these stories, oh, well, we fell in love and we've been together for 20 years. Okay, I'm going to tell you why that happens. Because when you fell in love, you had chemistry. And as you grew as human beings, you grew together in ways that were compatible with each other. So you grew closer together. You got lucky. Okay. Love is not a magic spell. Okay. All that happened was you met someone that you both were attracted to each other, you turned each other on, and then you just happened to be compatible in other ways, like intellect, humor, family values, belief systems, all that kind of jazz, all those areas of compatibility. So you just happen to be compatible, and you happen to grow in ways where your wants and needs remain compatible with each other. So you just hit the relationship, lottery, basically the jackpot.
Yeah.
It's not a magic spell. God did not put you two together. It's not fate. No. More often than not, when you fall in love, it does, it's usually going to end within a couple of years, if not sooner. Oftentimes it ends disastrously. And the reason is because when you have that chemistry going, you don't care about it. You are riding high. It's just like what Lady E said. When you're on ecstasy, anal sex feels awesome, and when your brain on lust is the same as, that it's that dopamine. It's that that neurochemical that makes you feel high, like you're on a drug. That's why it hurts so much when you fall, if someone breaks your heart, because then you're crashing, like crashing from a drug. You're crashing from that high of that dopamine crash. So, but again, I won't get into that. The point is that when that happens, either because that person loses interest in you, or you overlook things when you're high on lust. You overlook those red flags that we were talking about before. Oh, I don't care that he just got out of jail and he's on parole. He's really hot and we have a really good time. It's like, well, you're going to care in 9 months when the chemistry wears off and a bounty hunter's knocking on your door because he skipped his parole hearing. You know what I'm saying? So it can end very destructively and very disastrously. So I love this question because it presupposes that you're already in a relationship because you're compatible. And you should ideally start that way. We should start with a compatible relationship and then build chemistry from there. Because yes, you can build chemistry and you can develop it. But it's better for a long-term relationship.
What if you meet somebody and you're not, like, when you meet somebody, you're automatically physically attracted to them or whatever. And like, that's what gets you guys to like start talking or whatever. Like, oh, you see him from across the room, like, oh, you're so hot. Like, and then you guys start talking. Like, what if there's none of that? Like, what if there's no like physical chemistry, but like you have more of like an intellectual compatibility, that kind of situation. But like, could it, like, what I'm trying to say is like, what would it end up working because you're not physically attracted to them? Because that's a big part in like, being like sexual with the person or, that kind of thing.
Well, there's a really great book that I recommend. It's called Why Women Have Sex, by Buss and Heston, or Heston and Buss, or something of that nature. It's two writers. And what they do is it's based on this study where they interviewed a bunch of women and asked them, and there's like 224 reasons why women have sex, that they list in this book. But the number one and number two reasons are, like sexual attraction or enjoyment and pleasure. So even, the idea that, oh, well, women don't care that much about looks, that's a myth. Women are, and it might not be looks in the same way that a man perceives looks. It might not be all visual. It might be the way the man moves or talks or walks or something like that. It could be his cadence or something. But women find attraction just as important as men do. Now, but here's the thing, and I said this last time. Sexual attraction does not lend itself to sexual satisfaction necessarily. You can think someone is hot, but not actually be compatible in the bedroom. Likewise, you might not think someone is hot, but like you said, if you're intellectually stimulated, they make you laugh. Give them a, give it a try. Give the romance a try, because while you're in the bedroom, they might be able to please you in ways that suddenly make them much more attractive than you thought they were. Keep in mind, chemistry is by definition physical. So even if you don't have so you can have the initial physical attraction of chemistry, but not have not necessarily have sexual chemistry because you can meet this, like you both mentioned before. What if you meet this beautiful man who has a micro penis? Well, if he has a micro penis, no matter how good looking he is, it's probably not going to turn you on.
Nope.
But by the same token, you might have a very average looking guy who is very compatible with you. The curvature of his penis might fit the contours of your vagina in such a way that you've never experienced. He might read your reactions and your responses to his behavior in bed in such a way that you almost become one, when you're making love, and you will see him in a different light. But you don't know that until you give them a chance. You have to get physical before you know if there's physical chemistry.
Right.
But but again, that's why I say it's very, very important to, and don't get me wrong, if you think a guy's hot, fuck him.
Right.
This is not.
I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna step in here for a second, because I have been in both circumstances where I was with somebody that I was maybe not so much physically attracted to, but we had more compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
But our sexual relationship was zero.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the people that I have been with who we have a physical chemistry and some sort of compatibility to a point, it has been fire. It is like completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point in time, like I think I'm going to be 38 years old in 2 months. And I think that, yes, I do want compatibility, but I need that fire. If I don't have that fire, it's useless.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to it.
I agree.
I need that. I need that fire.
You can't overestimate the importance of passion in a relationship. It is very, very important. And that's ultimately what we're talking about, is that passion, that physical and emotional desire to be sensual with your partner. And it's not just fucking. It's I just want to spend an hour lying in bed on a rainy Sunday, making out and talking about stupid shit, and just playing with each other's hands, and loving intimate shit, and that's passion as well. So the question, I'm sorry, the answer to your question can be multiple ones. You just have to keep looking for someone who you have an equal parts passion and compatibility, or you might need to be maybe look into something like polyamory or ethical non-monogamy. So you can have a compatible partner that you do domestic things with, but then have a fuckboy on the side that you have passion with, even if you're not domestically compatible with him. Or in polyamory situation, you would have multiple partners where different partners fulfill different needs that you have. You could try swinging.
Yeah, see, I'm territorial. My man is my man, and there is no in between. In between. So I don't think that I emotionally could handle something like that, because I know that I could not handle something like that. I just think that I need to find my equal in so many ways, which I think that in some instances I have, but we're so far left, or there's so many things in between us, that we just can never get there.
This is an unfair aspect of monogamy, is that we expect one person to fulfill all our needs. That is not very realistic. So, I mean, I know this is very analytical sounding, but if I were you, I would make a list of sexual pros and, like compatible or domestic pros, and like what's the most important things to you, like what is going to make you feel the most fulfilled in both columns. And these are like things that you need, like, and there's certain things, there's like deal breakers, it's like, he can't be this way, he can't be that way in both columns. But then it's like, okay, he might not be as much this or as much that, but I can deal with it because he has these other qualities. And we use the word settle, but we're always settling because there is no perfect partner. You don't know who's right around the corner. So in the end, find someone who makes you happy. A happy, healthy relationship is
I think settle is a tough word for a lot of people to handle, because I think that we've all settled in some aspect and we're never ever fully satisfied.
Yeah, where you're going.
I think that there's got to be a better way to find your happy medium in some aspect in your relationship, just in a lot of aspects. Like, you can't settle is awful. You can't. I've done it. It's not fucking healthy. It is not good for your relationship to settle and to be complacent with what your partner or what you're giving to them or whatever it is. It has to be mutual. Like, I know we briefly spoke prior, and I say energy. Energy is huge. I respond off of your energy. You're giving me the same energy, I'm going to give you the same energy.
Yeah.
But that's how I am programmed, and
Right.
Lady E. But I'm like, what you're giving me is what I'm going to give back to you. If you're not going to be as whatever, I'm going to take a step back, because I'm following your lead in some aspect and giving you what you're giving to me. And I have done in my past, I will say, I have given so much of myself where I have been broken, bitter, and unhappy, that I have learned to take a step back and to match your energy. And it's not that I don't care, or I don't love you, or whatever it is, whatever the case may be, is I'm giving to you what you're giving to me, and I'm not going to give you any more.
Well, I think the most important thing about what you're saying is, outside of the content, you're expressing a great deal of self-awareness, and that's crucial, because you have to know who you are and what you want in order. And don't think of it as settling, think of it as prioritizing.
Okay. So that's a better word. That's a better word, Ryan. Prioritizing.
And you mentioned this last time when we were on air, energy. Yeah. That is a big thing for you. So
yes.
You have to have that, and that's at the top of your list. So what are some other things that you need? So now let's look at the domestic column. How important is it that he be funny and make you laugh? Is that more important than this, or more important? So you have to look again at all these things, and there is no one.
I think they're all important.
Right.
I think in any relationship, I think all of those things should be intertwined. But I think in hindsight, your physical chemistry should be on the top. Because that's what. Yes, your compatibility, your passions, your like interests, those are things that are going to keep you guys together. But your physical chemistry is what's going to keep you sexually alive and apparent in your relationship. That is, I think, huge, and where I think a lot of people lack. Yes, you settle or I'm going to use the word settle, because you're settling for people who are doing the good things and doing what you think is right and normal. But your sexual or physical chemistry is what's lacking. And I think that physical chemistry, and this is just my opinion. I don't
Sure.
know about anybody else, but physical
Yeah.
chemistry, I think, should be first, and your compatibility should be after.
Right.
Because
But
your physical chemistry is what is going to keep your relationship alive. Because everything else you're settling for.
well, as I was mentioning,
I don't know. I think, hold on, I think that, I mean, it's not just about like a physical attraction for me. I do a lot of mental attraction too. And if we're mentally compatible, or we're into the same things and we vibe like so well together, like that is like way more sexy and attractive to me than like your physical appearance.
Well, I'm not talking about physical appearance. I'm talking about you guys vibing sexually is really where I'm going with that. So
okay.
you guys have all that, but you guys don't have any sexual chemistry as far as that.
Right.
So,
okay.
You're settling.
That would be like, I mean, can it be like teachable though? Like, are you willing to, take the time out to teach him what you like, and he can teach you what you like?
Well,
and, so you guys can both be more compatible in that sense? Or is it just like, does it still feel off after that?
well, I'm gonna give you some examples of things that you can do, and these can work if at different points in time in your relationship. Like maybe you meet a guy or a girl, but since I feel like I'm talking to you too, so I'm gonna use the example of guys. If you meet a guy and you kind of like him, but you're not sure. There are things that you can do to increase or test or see if you have chemistry. If you're already with him, and because of those other compatibility factors, but the chemistry isn't there, you can try these things. Or if you've been together for 5 years and the chemistry has sort of faded, you can try these things to sort of reignite the spark. So I'm gonna give you some of these real quick. Okay, so one thing that you can try doing is sensual dancing. That would be like the tango, bachata, bumping and grinding if you're into hip hop. But take lessons, or if you already can do it, go to clubs, because this is dancing in a sensual or erotic manner is something that you're doing together. You have to create rhythm and be one with each other in unison. And when it's an erotic dance, it places everything places your physical melding into an erotic or sexual context. So no matter what stage of the relationship you're in, that's something that you can try. As an example, be spontaneous. This can go especially if you're already with someone and you're trying to like build more sex, but it can apply to anyone that you're comfortable with, I should say. And by spontaneous, I mean that could be anything that's like intimate or sensual or sexual. It could be something like, oh, while he's driving, bend over, unzip his pants, and start sucking his dick. Or likewise, maybe if you're folding up the clothes, he can come up behind you and like rub your hips and your thighs and slowly pull your pants down and go down on you from behind, as you're folding up the clothes. Or, yeah, thank you. Maybe note to self. Maybe if one of you is in the shower, the other one just spontaneously hop in the shower with the person. So there's a lot of bringing the spontaneity that automatically like raises your dopamine and everything, and it makes it more exciting. Focus on things that you like or things that you find attractive about him or her, and build them up. So, for example, if he has like a really nice ass, then like focus on that and like worship it, basically the same way that you would want him to worship your boobs or whatever the case may be. And doing that can again help you. You'll enjoy it because that's a part of him that you like, and he'll enjoy it because it makes him feel sexy, and it makes him feel, men want to feel wanted too, believe it or not. It's a big turn on for us when women actually, express that they want us. Now I'm gonna target Lady E here because I happened to catch one of your podcasts weeks ago. You guys were talking about love languages, and you said that you like acts of service. So the way that I'm going to incorporate this, and watch what I do with my coaching magic here. I'm going to translate your love language into sex language, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say, okay, Lady E likes acts of service. So tonight when she gets home, I'm going to have dinner cooked for her. But I'm not just going to make dinner for her. I'm going to make it a romantic dinner. So I'm going to make it probably Italian. And maybe I'll set some candles. So now we've moved in from an act of service to a romantic candlelit dinner. Okay, but that's not enough. That's just me being sweet. Maybe I'm going to try feeding her. That kind of turns. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I get a little sauce on on the outside of your lip? Here, let me get that. And maybe I'm gonna remove that sauce with my mouth, with my tongue, maybe with my fingers, and then I'm gonna lick my finger. So now I have suddenly taken your love language and turned it into.
Yeah.
I know. So I've taken your love language.
Pointers, man, pointers.
Yeah. I'm gonna take that for dessert. I'm going to take those strawberries and, I'm going to dip them in a little chocolate. And now we've already eroticized the dinner. So I'm going to continue that. I'm going to dip that strawberry in a little bit of chocolate. I'm going to make sure the strawberry is cut in half because a half-cut strawberry looks like a vulva. So subconsciously, you're going to think of pussy and therefore you're pussy. So I'm going to dip it in chocolate and I'm going to rub that chocolate around your lips, and then I'm going to kiss you and get in until we're both tasting the same chocolate. And you can see where I'm going with this. And then that's going to lead to me maybe dripping a little bit of chocolate accidentally on your cleavage. Let me get that for you, sweetie. There you go. Those beautiful big breasts of yours, So now I'm going to accidentally have to start taking your clothes off to get, the food. And so you can see where I'm going with this. I have now taken your love language, which would have just been a sweet act of kindness and I got the best boyfriend ever, to we're now fucking on the dining room table,
Yeah. Okay. Kitchen counter.
Yeah. So so find out what your partner's love language is, use it to your advantage, which would ultimately be their advantage. But what I mean by your advantage is, if my primary love language is physical and my secondary is verbal. So for me, if your love language is active service, that would be a perfect combination, because I'm going to translate that love language of yours into something physical, which is my love language. So now, even though we have different love languages, they're combining. So we're going to mix together, and then the sex is going to turn both of us on, because you've gotten the act of service and I've gotten the physical, and the eroticism from both it satisfies both of our love languages. So think about what your partner's love language is, what your love language is, and think of different ways that you can satisfy both of them but also in a manner that ultimately leads, and it doesn't have to lead to intercourse or sex per se, but some form of sensuality, even if it's just like kissing and canoodling. I love the word canoodling.
Like foreplay and doing all that with like food and little acts of kindness. It's like, And go little acts of kindness or whatever that you were saying. What was it? My love language. Yeah, acts of service. Yes. Even those little things, it's like, and I see that like him doing things like that, and it's just like it just turns me on even more. And
it's like if I'm gonna go to your house, especially, I mean, this is something I'm gonna do, especially if we don't live together. I'm gonna go to your house and mow your lawn, but I'm gonna when I'm probably gonna do it. I'm gonna time it in a way that I know you're gonna come home while I'm in the middle of doing it. And I might just happen to have my shirt off and glistening with sweat, my taut muscular body glistening with sweat as I'm pushing the lawnmower. And pushing the lawnmower is going to cause my muscles to flex and ripple in the Florida sun as the sweat's glowing. So, I'm going to plan all this shit. That way, when you get home, you're going to see two things. Your boyfriend's mowing your lawn, and your boyfriend is really hot and fucking sweaty and looks good half naked while he's doing it. So this is going to prompt you to want to jump my bones, essentially.
Love it.
So this does take some thought. So for those of you guys who are, very creative, I'm creative and analytical, so these things work in my favor. But you want to, another thing is, there are certain realities that we have to accept and that are biologically wired into us. Like I'm an ass man. I like big, round butts, and I cannot lie.
I love big booties.
But I like boobs too. So when Lady E appeared in this shirt that's showing off her chest, it's very sexy to me. And that's good because you want to, even if you've been with your partner a while, you want to find a way to dress sexy. And that means voluptuous. Show off your boobs, find a way to show off wear a cincher to make your waist smaller and your hips bigger. Because men like curves, generally speaking. So you do want to find a way to be attractive. What hairstyle works best for you? And again, you just that your man is lying in bed playing on the computer. So when you get out of the shower, one thing that men find attractive is when women wear a man's dress shirt and nothing else. So you get out of the shower and your hair is down. I mean, well, you have short hair, but a tweet, if your hair is down and it's dripping and you're wearing a man's dress shirt and your boobs are about to pop out and your nice thick thighs are showing just almost like the hint of your buttocks, but not quite. That shit's a turn on. So you do these things to arouse your man. Don't just get out of the shower and throw on your favorite PJs and hop into bed and put your fucking retainer in, because that's not sexy. And you have the retainer in and the slobber. You wanna fool around, blah. You don't want to. And the same thing goes for men. If you're a man, what turns women on, and we're going to get to this later, but what turns women on is money. It's being successful. It's being dominant. These are primal, alpha male. You don't have to be an alpha male douchebag, but you have to be a confident, masculine figure or present yourself that way. So so again, I mean, don't get me wrong, to each his own. If you're a hipster and you want to dress like a hipster, then you would attract a hipster girlfriend. But for the vast majority, if you're a man, you want to be manly. You want to dress and smell and act and talk in a masculine way. So this is something that you want to do to improve chemistry with your woman by turning her on. Let her see it, buy a new outfit to let her see a different side of you, maybe a more masculine side, something that she hasn't seen before. Change your wardrobe up a little bit. And these are, just very simple little things that you can do. Changing your hair, changing your makeup, grow a beard, grow your hair out, whatever the case may be. Or
I was going to say,
cut it
I'm
off.
not growing a beard.
Well, I'm talking to
I
men or
felt like
and
our
women.
male crowd just dropped off once we started talking about this.
There is, of course,
I'm not even surprised because sometimes they lack the effort that needs to be put in.
Right, exactly. Or they don't want to learn what it takes.
They don't want to learn what it takes.
Right.
Yes.
They think they know it all.
So yeah.
well,
You know.
I'm going to incorporate that into what you mentioned before, and you just touched on it again. Another good way to spice things up is dirty talk, and dirty talk is a great way to tell your lover what you want without like hurting their ego, because you're playing a character, you're talking dirty. So if you want a finger up your butthole, this is a good time to ask for it. You know, if you want to try something different, or you want them to do something different, when you're in this role playing kind of mode, you can do this kind of thing more. You know, roll them over when you're kissing. Roll them over. Stand. Speaking for myself, I love watching women take their clothes off. It turns me on. I mean, incredibly so. It's building that anticipation. Okay, so you can do that, but then once you're naked, push him down on the bed and sit on his face, right his face. And I would, not all men would like that, but I personally would like that.
I would love to know what man doesn't like a woman riding their face ever.
Well, because some men don't like it, women who are aggressive.
Oh.
Yeah. So you got to know your man.
How many men don't like their women to be aggressive?
Some men are very, dominant, and they want to stay that way, or they view aggressive women as whores, It's that classic virgin whore paradox, But yeah,
because we know what we want, we're whores.
Well, I think it's more of
because I think that's where it goes, because we're speaking our mind and we're telling a man what we want. We're instantly considered a whore.
Right. Well, it's the same.
Insane.
Yeah. It's this our society, because
men can say what they want and express themselves, and I want to fuck you in the ass, or I want to do this, I want to do that. But as soon as we tell a man what we want, that puts us in a different spectrum. You've done this before, huh? Or
well, one of the next books I'm going to write is this sexual empowerment of women, and I really want to address that, because it is such a shame that women have been so heavily oppressed sexually that you're not allowed to ask for what you want without threatening the man, or without incriminating yourself and making yourself look like a whore. To me, so I'm a little bit more enlightened. So no, tell me what you want. I'm going to get my notepad out. I want to know. I want you to be aggressive. I want you to, because when you push me down and ride my face, that lets me know that you want me. I take that as a compliment, because it's like, that's very sexy to me.
Yeah.
But these are all different things that you can do. And it's like I was mentioning, strip off your clothes and like fondle your breasts, and walk up to, if your man's lying down, for example, pull him up to a sitting position, and, spread his legs and stand in front of him and do like a little strip tease, and then put his hands on your breast. What you're kind of telling him is, I want you to play with my breasts more, pull his head in between your tits and like motorboat him or something. And then like you would a baby, put your nipple in his mouth, like it's like trying to give him the hint. You know what I mean? Then if he doesn't take the hint, then tell him, lick my nipple, baby, but in this kind of like role playing, dirty talk scenario, and when I say role playing, I'm talking about getting into an aggressive mindset and an aggressive, mood with your man, not necessarily role playing in the sense like, I'm Sherlock Holmes and I'm going to try to find your clitoris, by following the clues. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, is that dirty talk, and that kind of role playing is a great way to both show and tell your man or your woman what you want, but it also is a great way to build chemistry because, again, it builds that dopamine. It's exciting, it's new, it's different, and that is more of a rush. And that creation of the dopamine and adrenaline helps build that chemistry between you. So going into massage can kind of do the same thing, especially if you've been with the person or you're kind of new. Massage is a great way to go from something that's very nice and pleasant to something that can very easily become erotic or sensual. Now, I'm going to get a little scientifical for you guys. So there's several things that you can do here, and they all have the same end result. There is a direct link between thrill-seeking activities and dangerous activities and horniness, and this is because the boost of adrenaline boosts your dopamine, and what happens is like a transference. So if I'm with you and we go bungee jumping together, then what's going to happen is that sense of thrill that you just found is going to make you think, it's going to make you associate that sense of thrilling sensation with me. You're going to think that I'm responsible for giving you that thrill. You see what I mean? So that's going to make
Quincy.
Yes, so
You don't even know me.
And the next comment.
Yeah, so that's going to make you more attracted and more. That's going to build your chemistry. The same thing with like watching a horror movie or a thriller. That boost of adrenaline and dopamine and whatnot is going to transfer to the person, and the same thing holds true for comedy. If I take you to a movie and you laugh, you're going to automatically think that I'm the one making you laugh. You're going to associate, and laughing is great because it's a stress relief, and relieving stress makes you more open to sex. Having fun in general is associated with sex, and then you're going to turn around and associate all those things with me because I'm the one responsible for taking you to that movie, and or just because we did it together, you're going to make the connection between that thrill or that laugh and me. So whether this is your first date or you've been dating for a while or you've been together for years, a lot of these things you can do if to build chemistry with someone that for whatever reason the chemistry is lacking, maybe either because it's faded over time.
At the end of the day, you think that you could build chemistry with somebody that you have either lacked or has never been?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, yes. But we have to go back to what we were talking about before, where you can have an initial sense of chemistry with someone that does not actually play out in the bedroom when you start having sex. Like, so you can be attracted to them, but not have good sex. You might, or the opposite way, you might not necessarily be attracted to them the way you would normally be attracted to someone, but you can have good sex with them. So what we're trying to do is, build the chemistry. If you're going to give that person a chance, these are ways to build chemistry to improve your sexual and sensual connection with them and your sense of attraction. So what's important to you?
So Lady E, you think that because you mentioned that you're more like you go on the intellectual side or that type of side, you think that the physicality of it doesn't really bother you?
So, okay, with me, if I go more towards the intellectual side, and then we do take that next step to be more physical with each other. Usually the first couple times is not that great,
Yes.
and like you have to you're already like mentally and compatible and you vibe with each other so well, but like you know, in the bedroom, it lacks a little bit. And yeah, you have to like tell them, like, this is what I want. And they have to tell you, this is what I want, whatever. And usually the first couple times is like, it sucks. And then that's when usually women are like, well, I can't be with this person just because of the lack of physical chemistry in the bed. But like what I've learned from just my experiences is like you just have to work on it. Like you have all these other things that you're compatible with, and it's like, you know, in your head you can be physically like connected at the same time. It's just you have to work on that, and
you have to give them a chance. And that's the thing is,
and like the guys that you're most physically attracted to are amazing in bed, right? but then they lack all these other like things that you're like wanting in a guy. It's like, okay, you're amazing in bed, but we can't even hold a conversation, or you're not on my intellect level, or you're not, you know, you're not like a family oriented guy, or, you know, whatever. So physical attraction is only like, you know, here, but it's like mentally and
so again,
all that stuff is like,
you have to prioritize as to what you want. If you're just looking for fun, go out with a hot guy and fuck them and enjoy it. And then when you're ready to settle down, you know, look for the more compatible aspects and then build your chemistry from there. You know, but yes, there's also an issue of like, there's a sense of objective beauty versus subjective beauty. Okay. So it's like, you can look at me and say, okay, he's a nice looking guy. You know, he has nice features. You know, there's nothing, you know, I'm not like Quasimodo, but you might not be attracted to me. Maybe I'm too skinny, or maybe my face is too round. You like angular faces, whatever the case may be. Objectively, you recognize that I'm a nice looking guy, but subjectively, you're not attracted to me. But maybe we get along, maybe we vibe, you know, I make you laugh, I stimulate you intellectually. So if you give me the chance to, you know, to make love and to get into the bedroom, if we find out that we are sexually compatible, this objectively good looking face is now going to become subjectively good looking. You know what I mean? Like, if an ugly guy is probably not going to become handsome. No matter how good, you know, Lyle Lovitz is in bed, he's probably never going to look handsome to you. You know what I'm saying? But
I think we should take this to our next question, our next segment.
But if you take
could you, because like, so if you're not physically attracted to them, could you still be in a relationship with them? Because
what I'm saying is that an average looking person can become more attractive as you become more sexually, if they can please you in the bedroom, then, and that chemistry is there, then an average looking person is going to become more attractive to you.
Right. Yeah.
But you do have to give them a shot, and I'm not trying to be critical, but in my life experience, women oftentimes are too quick to judge or too quick to make decisions. And it's like, a man, you can like a man, but he can say or do one wrong thing, and it's just like, you just turn off like a light switch, you cut him off, you want nothing more to do with him.
Yes.
Be more flexible, open up, you know.
You see red flags, we've been through it before. We love to bring past experiences into our future. We love doing that kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm not going to deal with that again. You know, that kind of thing.
Don't be so quick, though, to kick a man to the curb. Give him a chance. I'm not, you know, and if you give him a chance and you end up that you like him more than you thought when you first met him, then you have to give him a chance physically. As I was, I think that Tweet was out of the room, but what I was saying to Lady E was, chemistry is physical. So you have to be physical with someone before you know if you have chemistry with them, if you're not going just based on appearances. So that's kind of rolling to summarize everything. If I'm an average looking guy, but we're compatible in other ways, you have to give me a chance to to prove how compatible we are in bed, and in which case you will be more attracted to me sexually. If you don't give me that chance, you're never going to know. You just missed out on a perfectly good opportunity to have a perfectly good guy that you're compatible with, because you were so quick to kick me to the curb or so quick to judge that you didn't really give me a fair shake. So I think that really, and there's no absolutes.
Right.
So a good-looking guy can be really good in bed or not. An average-looking guy can be really great in bed or not. The guy that you're compatible with may end up being a great lover or not. The guy that's a great lover may or may not be compatible with. So there's no absolutes, but you don't know until you try.
So, moral of the story, there's no perfect guy.
Yeah.
You have to work
Or
for
woman.
Or woman, right. So let's go into our next topic. Can money buy love?
All right, Tweet, it's all you. I'm just going to lay back and watch Tweet talk.
This is Tweet show now. Let's go.
Yes.
Buy love?
Yes.
All right, well, simply put,
in majority of instances, yes, it can. Yes, it can.
But is it real love? Or is it like, oh,
I'm not saying it's replacing affection and in that aspect of love. But for the people who are what's the word that I'm looking for? Who their significant others are always away on business or what have you, and they're only home in certain circumstances, and they're giving you the best that they can while they're home, but in the meantime, they're supplementing with financial stability. I'm not even gonna lie. Like this, I have these issues because I stem from daddy issues. So this will give a little insight into why I say this, because my dad or my father, he's now gone, but he was never an affectionate person. He was a financial figure. Anything I wanted, my dad would buy. He would never show me any emotional support or any affection. He would just give me money or buy me something to show me his affection or money.
That was his love language.
Yeah. Oh,
that was his love language.
It all makes sense now. It all
yes. So I grew up that is what I felt like I needed. And yes, now later on in my life, I do see different aspects of that. But I think that money in general, and this is not for all people, but I think that money in general makes things easier and makes things better if you are both financially stable and can. But if one is not, and one is financially stable, one is not, that makes your relationship that much harder. So I think that money in a relationship standpoint is huge, because I will tell you, in my marriage, money was a huge issue. Not that I was asking him for anything, but it always seemed like it was a struggle. Like, why are we struggling? Why? Right. We make so much money. There's no reason for us to be struggling, but yet we're so independent with each other that we're not connecting. So I think that now, as I have gotten older, that I don't think that money buys love as much, but I do think that it does. But I gave you a little history of why I think that it does, because that is what I grew up on, and that is what I knew and what I know. Period. That is how a man showed affection, was buying you something or giving you money or paying your bills or what have you. That was my understanding of how a man showed you affection and love. Now I know that it's a little bit different.
Tweet. I went through the same thing, Tweet. So I totally understand where you're coming from. My father never gave me affection either, but he also didn't spend his money on me. He thought, for me, I think, this is just from my opinion, I don't know from there, like my father, mother, whatever. But as long as he was paying his child support, that was his duty. So other than that, no affection, no spending time together, no nothing. Like I would visit him and it was just like cold,
Yep.
like this is my life. You're just in it, that kind of thing. Like you're coming up here because it's court ordered or whatever. But like
I wouldn't say my instance is similar to yours, Lady E. I would say that, but my father really did try in some aspect, but he just didn't have that bone in his body. He was all about money. It was
yeah,
all about clout, if that's the right word that I'm using. My father lied on me. He told people that I went to Notre Dame University. He lied on me and made up amazing, elaborate stories about me, but yet that wasn't who I was. That wasn't me. But yet he made that facade for people to see on the outside that, oh my God, this man lives, his daughter is amazing. She lives an amazing life. He did so good for her. No, he didn't. Like
no,
he made up all of these elaborate stories to make his own life look good. Not to make his daughter be a better person, to make his own life good.
yeah.
And I know that we kind of took this to another topic, and I apologize for that, but
No, it's okay.
this is pretty serious shit.
Yeah, no, it's good. I love it. Just be
Ryan, what do you have to comment on that?
Well, I think if I would characterize it a little bit differently. As you kind of said in the very beginning, money doesn't actually buy love. It doesn't buy the emotion, but money is a
It
very
buys
attractive.
time. It buys time.
Well, money is an attractive quality. Money means stability. It means freedom. It means comfort. It means travel, luxury. It's
But
just having
it's definitely
money.
not love though, because for
No,
me,
but here,
well, let me just say this little short story. When I got with like my first serious relationship after, turning 18, moving out of the house, being on my own, my first serious relationship was a guy who would spend like a bunch of money on me and buy me everything that I wanted. And like, that's what I wanted. I wanted that stability. I wanted that, safety thing to be like, okay, I know I'm going to get taken care of for a long time and I don't have to worry about anything. But then then I slowly started realizing that, like, he was only buying me things just to keep me there, and just, I found out he was like cheating on me, like for like a whole year and a half or whatever. And he thought, like, I woke up one morning, I will never forget this. It was after I gave birth to my daughter. She was probably like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months old, whatever. And I wake up to like a diamond bracelet, a diamond tennis bracelet, and it was like Happy Valentine's Day. And he was like nowhere to be found. He was out being with somebody else, and like he just thought, as long
But
as
he
I
gave
buy
you the
her,
gift. Yeah.
right, like as long as I buy her something expensive, she'll be quiet, she knows I love her, that kind of thing. And when I first got with the guy, I was like, oh, these are really sweet things, sweet gestures. I feel like a princess, queen, whatever that you guys make women feel like. But slowly started becoming this like regular thing where I was like, okay, you're doing this to hide the fact that you're not really into it. You don't want to be like settled down and you want to be with other women or whatever. And that's why I'm like materialistic things, like do not buy me crap. Like if you buy me something, that's just like whoa, like don't. There's like a red
I
flag.
get it. I literally get it 100%. I will tell you, because my father supported me majority of my life. And up in like until like, he found out that I was dating out of my race and disowned me. Um, he financially supported me. So at that point in time, after he found out I was dating out of my race, he decided to choose to not be a part of my life. And I had to learn to be independent. And that is where I have grown as a person. And even more now after my divorce, I have grown into an even bigger person to be solely reliant on myself and not put anybody else in my circle. Like, you don't have to do shit for me. I could do it on my own. I want you, as far as I want you just for you, period.
Right. Yeah.
But I would say in some circumstances, and yes, money can buy love. It doesn't buy affection, or I wouldn't say it buys love. I would say it buys affection and it buys you time. It doesn't buy you love.
I think
It will never.
No, I think money is just like having a good sense of humor or being good looking. It gets your foot in the door.
It buys you time.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, if I have money, you're going to be more likely to give me a shot and go out with me. And or if you think I'm good looking or if you think I'm funny, you're more likely to go out with me. And that can lead to you falling in love with me. So the money is not actually buying your love. It's buying the opportunity for you to go out with me because, it is an attractive quality. Why wouldn't you want someone who's more financially, stable and independent because of what all money does for us and what it means? So if you see a guy with money, and it doesn't have to be, we're not talking about being rich. We're talking about just, being financially stable or independent, and a guy who does have money, he's got to be more attractive to you. And that's going to, like you said, give you the time or opportunity, give him the time and opportunity to take you out, to woo you, to romance you, wine and dine you, and get to know each other. And then, as you date, you might fall in love with them. So the money is just an aphrodisiac. It's just a gateway. It doesn't actually buy the love itself.
Right. No,
Correct.
I mean, money, I don't think money buys love. I think a lot of people want this, like especially women. They want to have this like lavish lifestyle and endless amounts of money, and like that's not the case. Like they just want to know that they feel secured with their man. Like they don't want to have like gifts bought for them all the time. If you're not giving your time and your energy and your affection to a woman, like buying them anything is like worthless in my eyes. Like it doesn't mean shit. Like you cannot prove that you love me through buying me something. So,
no presence can take the place of it being emotionally present.
right.
So
Agreed. I do agree with that now. 10 years ago, I would not have agreed with that. I would have told you a completely different story.
Well, that's because
I do. But again, that's how I grew up, and that's what I knew, and that's how and I still struggle with it today. I mean, again, like I'm almost 30 years old. I still struggle with it. I'm like, all right. But then again, I'm like, all right, I don't need you. I could do it on my own.
Right.
I don't need a man for anything. I want a man
but then
for
sweet.
Emotional and go ahead.
Sweet. But when a guy does approach you like that, like, oh, I can buy you this, I can buy you that, in your head, because I'm
going to use him.
This is how I think, though. It's like, what are you lacking? What are you hiding? It's like, what else are you not able to do? Because that's the only thing that you can flaunt first to a woman.
And I think if that's the only thing that you're flaunting, I'm going to take advantage of you.
Right.
Well, probably in the same.
If you're flaunting it and you have nothing else to back it up with, I'm gonna take advantage of that situation 100%.
He's
But at the
probably.
end of the day, that's not what I'm searching for. But if that's the thing that comes along,
yeah. I mean, of
give it
course,
up.
you're gonna like use it until it's
You already
dry.
know what it is. He's
But-
not gonna give you anything else in return. You guys are both have you both have the same mindset that it is what it is. So
You're
you
on the
take
same
advantage
page,
of the
yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Well, I think in those cases, guys are, that's their life experience. That women respond to them because they have money. So for them, they're going to use that as their draw because because in their experience, that's the biggest lure is money. I mean, if I had a 12-inch cock, I'd be walking around waving that shit around and just seeing, seeing how many women would stick to it, but it's the same thing with money. It's like you're waving around that money because that's what you have,
That's all you have, really.
Yeah. But that everyone is operating according to their own experience and their own worldview. Whatever they perceive as going to get them what they want, that's what they're going to try. That's the approach they're going to take. And if for that person it's money, and a lot of times waving that money around will be very successful. There's plenty of fish in the sea, and a lot of them like to bite money. You know what I'm saying? So
Jack could use some plastic surgery. So anybody out there, I need some Botox. I got some fine lines here.
All right, what's the next?
I just recently ruined my Gucci bag with a road soda in my purse, so that needs to be replaced.
Real nice. Real nice. You better take that shit to the dry cleaner. All right, so let's get into we're going to do our last topic. Relationship expectations.
Okay, this is a topic that we were actually talking about backstage before the show started. So this is going to be we would really like, I think, some viewer participation on this in terms of.
Please.
We do have a comment. I think it's a question actually. So I'm gonna post this real quick from Scott Keller. Hey man, real question. Has anyone ever told you that you look and sound uncannily like Phoebe from Friends' boyfriend David, the scientist guy who had to go to Mint? What?
He was that guy was played by Hank Azaria. Hank Azaria.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
Hank Azaria he used to do many of the voices for The Simpsons.
Yeah.
In the older movie Godzilla with Matthew Broderick, he was the cameraman. So no one has ever told me that. I
thought it was like a real question.
Sorry about that.
No, okay.
Can we get some real participation here? Oh my god!
All I read was "Hey, question," and I was like, "There you go." I forget it.
9 inches. Moving on. What I was talking about before is if you want a happy and healthy relationship, there has to be reciprocity. Relationships have to be two-way streets. You have to care about your partner's needs and wants and be willing to fulfill them. And you deserve to expect the same in return to have your needs and wants fulfilled too. If you have to be on the lookout for narcissists and egomaniacs, if people only care about their needs, if they're always twisting things around to make it sound, and I dated a woman like this and it was fucking horrible. I mean, everything was like her. I mean, and she literally, I told her that I'm like, everything is about you. I give and you take. And she said, that's the way it's supposed to be. A man is supposed to give and a woman is supposed to take.
Well, at least she was honest about it.
Yeah. I mean, and it was just, and I can't, I'm a, like we talked about before, I'm a generous person, so I naturally attract takers. They that's a natural attraction because they see my generosity of spirit, so they want to take advantage of it. But in my age, I've learned, no, fuck you. That's like I give to my friends, but like I mentioned earlier, I've reached the point where I'm stopping that if they're not reciprocating. If you're not showing interest in being my friend, then I'm not going to keep trying to be your friend. I'm not going to keep trying to put that out there and give to you if you're not doing the same for me. And that goes even more so for a romantic relationship. I'm very relationship oriented. I'm not a weird like stalker or anything, but when I'm in a relationship, I'm all in. A lot of my life is going to revolve around you. And if you have kids, it will revolve around your kids. If you have dogs, I hope it's a pit bull or a Rottweiler, or because I like those dogs, then it's going to revolve around them. It's going to revolve around your life because that's what relationships are. I live half for myself and half for you, but I expect you to live half for yourself and half for me too. Now, if you have kids, that would be divided differently because your kids have to be, come first. They're more important. Well, not more important, but they obviously, if you have one kid, then you live a third for yourself, a third for them, and a third for me. But in that case, I would be living, a third for me, a third for you, and a third for your kid as well. So, but yeah, it needs to be equal share or close to equal shares. It needs to be reciprocal. And I'm very much that way, but I have a difficult time finding a woman who wants to live that way because so many women it's all about me. It's all about me and what I want and what you can do for me and what you can give me. One of the last women I dated, I felt like I was on, we didn't date really. We were just hanging out. I felt like I was on a job interview because everything was like, she was asking me questions to see if I lived up to her expectations. I really, really hate to say this, but in most, if we're being analytical and using a checklist, in most categories, I would be like out of her league. I was much more intellectual than her. I was in better shape physically than her. She made a ton of fucking money, and that was like her. That was her one big quality. Other than that, she didn't have much to offer. She was a horrible fucking person. I thought that she was abusive to her dog.
Cancel her. Can we cancel her in the next episode of Clockwatch? We don't do abusive animals.
Well, let me explain the dog scenario and tell me if I'm overreacting. Okay. She had a teacup Chihuahua. Okay, I don't like little dogs, but it was like I said, I love pit bull. I like big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like we're talking about a dog that's like 4 pounds soaking wet. Okay,
mm-hmm.
And it's old, so its spine is showing. It's
the spine should never be showing whatsoever.
So,
just saying, a dog has not eaten.
Well, I go into her room, and the first thing I see is like dog food. I mean, she's a slob, so there's like clothing and everything, but there's like dog food all over the place. So my first question is that dog food, or do you have a rabbit that's like shitting all over the place? Because a little dog eats little pellets of food. So there's dog food everywhere. Now, the dog has a brown spot on its neck, and I say, "What's that?" And she's like, "Well, this is like Monday, I guess." And she's like, "Well, over the weekend, we had a hot fudge sundae." I'm like, "Dogs aren't supposed to eat chocolate." Well, my dog gets what my dog wants. Okay, so she gave the fucking dog chocolate, which is shitty.
Oh my God.
But then, so let's flash forward to that was like Sunday, I think. Thursday, I'm at her house. The dog still has the fucking chocolate on its neck. So this dog is walking around for almost a week smelling this chocolate that it can't eat, which it's not supposed to eat anyway. Now, this is a little dog that you can hold in the palm of your hand. It would literally
take the smallest amount of chocolate would kill that dog.
Well, it would literally take you 5 minutes to wash this dog under the sink.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's the preface. Now, we went bowling. This is a little aside, but we went bowling because I knew that she liked bowling, and I was beating her. All she did was complain that I was beating her. Text her friends. I accidentally slipped and fell, and I hit hard because I stepped over the line, and my foot hits the
Mm-hmm.
lane that's oiled
Mm-hmm.
up, and my feet fly out. I don't just hit the floor. I hit the gutter, so it's like I'm hitting the edges, and she doesn't even ask me if I'm okay. I don't even think that she
What
knew that
did
I
she
fell.
say?
She
What
didn't say
the
anything.
fuck? She didn't
I don't
say
even think she knew because I think she was on the phone with her friends and not paying attention.
Oh,
you
so she
fell?
wasn't even giving a
Yeah,
flying
Yeah,
fuck about you.
you
She
fell?
was just using
yeah,
you for a night out,
yeah.
rather. Is that what
Well,
you're? A few
she
nights out.
she was the third wheel in her friend's relationship, and she wanted a guy to be with
To
her when
yeah,
she
to
was so
take
she
her
wasn't
out.
a third
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah.
But but moving on. So that was like Saturday, Sunday, whatever. So Thursday, I go back. I'm over there again. She still hasn't cleaned her fucking dog. There's still dog food everywhere. Now she has a plate of nachos that she's eating on her bed, and this little 4 pound fucking teacup chihuahua naturally is sniffing around her food, and she's like, no. Okay, so she finishes the plate. And when I say finish, I mean all that's left is like mozzarella stuck to the or whatever. She completely cleans the plate. She sets the plate on the bed. The dog walks up and starts licking the plate, and she goes whack and smacks it in the fucking face. This is like a 4 pound ancient teacup chihuahua, and you just smacked him in the face because he was licking your clean plate. I got so mad, I literally wanted to punch her in the fucking face.
Well, let's
Because
just say right now, right here, right now, for the people who are dog lovers, I would never,
Never.
ever in a million years, ever date a man, ever, if they disrespected an animal or treated an animal in any type of instance other than that. I've had a pit bull that saved my life through a house fire. Like if it wasn't for that pit bull, I would not be alive today. I had my Jack Russell for almost 18 years. That dog was my entire life. Like, I can't. Like, I would have done anything for my animals over myself. So
Yep.
if you are that selfish of a human fucking being, you are non-existent, you are worthless, and you should never fucking coexist with fucking anybody. You are not a human being.
Like that Jack Russell Terrier was a small dog. If you smacked a Jack Russell in the face like that, it would turn around and laugh at your ass because even though they're small, they're rough and tumble dogs.
You fuck with my dog Boo, he would have bit your ass.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He was a pit bull in a Jack Russell's body.
We have a comment coming in. It's gonna erase Ryan's face right now.
Okay, sorry, Ryan.
MJ, hello MJ. Thanks for
joining.
Hi. He says, "Yo, I can say the same thing about the last 2 females I got with. Instead of dogs, they treated their kids like that."
Wow.
Oh no! It's like, I mean, like, damn. The best thing about either was the money they made and the person they was trying to be. I'm not the only one I see.
Yeah.
No, you're not the only one.
No, I actually, when I first met Lady E, and I saw a photo of her with her daughter, I made this comment to you that it was so good to see that you guys were friends and like having fun. To me, even I don't have kids, but when I see a good mother, it's a big turn on for me. When I see a mother who is like really good with her kids, that really turns me on because it's like this is like a genuinely good person. I see her character. I see the way that she treats her kids, and it's the same thing with animals. You cannot smack a 4 pound teacup chihuahua that's so old that it's spinal issue. You can't. She didn't hurt it, but it was just the idea that you would do that. I just.
Did you get up and leave, Ryan?
Shortly thereafter, that I was like sitting on the bed, like next to her, and I just saw it, and like I had this. I'm very good at like controlling my emotions in that way, but inside me, I went from 0 to 60 like that. Like it was a very visceral reaction that I had. Like I wanted to hurt her to protect this dog. And it's just like, like if you were on the street and someone hit your son, you would beat the living piss out of them.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that's the same kind of reaction I had.
And I would say this because I don't have children. So animals are my entire life. That's who I have grown to love. I don't have one right now, but in the near future, I do plan to get multiple dogs. And if any person or anybody would ever come into my home and disrespect my animals, that would be a clear indication of I'm never, ever fucking talking to you ever again, because animals don't have a voice. And I know this is so clear off topic, but animals don't have a voice. They cannot speak. And for somebody to disregard them or to hurt them in any aspect is fucking awful. You are the worst fucking human being in the world. And I will say this with kids, but you can't hit kids or disregard them in any way. But in some aspect, kids do speak up, and I'm never ever condoning that you hit children ever, but kids can speak for themselves. Animals cannot. So and I can't put them in the same realm because they're completely polar opposites. One's a human being, one's an animal. So that's never, and I don't want any confusion with that. So let me be clear that there is never any confusion with that. But animals do not speak for themselves. And if you were to hurt them or harm them, they cannot speak. They cannot tell you what's wrong in any aspect. Like if a child is sick, they're going to tell you they're not feeling well, or mommy, I don't feel good, or whatever. A dog cannot, or an animal cannot do that. But I just want to be clear that I am not mixing the two ever together, because they are very different things. I'm just solely speaking on the animal aspect, that animals do not speak. And if you are that horrible of a human being that you can treat an animal like that, and who cannot speak up for themselves and tell you that they're hurting or in pain, that you are the worst type of fucking human being ever. And I never want to be associated with that person ever.
It shows a lot about their character.
Exactly.
And it's the same way. And I agree with I agree with the last gentleman. If I was dating a woman and I saw her treat her kids like that, I would
do the same thing.
Totally.
Again, I'm not even a parent, and if you, I think I was never hit as a child ever. So growing up, and seeing some people hit their children, I'm like, oh, I would never do that. But everybody is in a different realm than I was, but I was never hit, so I don't know. And maybe I would have turned out different if I was. But I'm like, I'm never discondoning people who reprimand their children or anything like that. But
no, and I look at if guys, like, how they treat
character,
right, how they treat their kids too, but also not just their kids, it's their kid's mother too.
Yes,
like, how do you
100%?
So I'm like, if you're gonna be disrespectful or talk shit about the mother in front of the kids, or whatever, or you don't have like a great, you don't have to have a great relationship with her, but as long as you co-parent the way that you're supposed to do it, and you're not talking shit about the other parent in front of the kids, then we can have like a relationship or whatever. But if you're doing all that extra bullshit and I have like drama with the baby mama and all that, no, that's not happening.
But I think this whole subject bleeds into a lot of other areas, like the way that we treat waiters and waitresses, the way that we the way that we treat if there's an old person walking down the sidewalk, you move out of the way, and you give them, I was raised, even though it probably doesn't seem like it because of the way I talk, but I was kind of raised with a more classic gentlemanly, I open doors for women, I open the car doors. Women I date now aren't even used to it. They're like, why are you opening the door? It's like, because that's the way I was raised. You're raised to open doors, for ladies. So when we walk on the sidewalk together, I always make sure I'm walking on the outside of the sidewalk.
Some men don't realize that.
Yeah.
That is a huge thing.
Right.
And I have been in some relationships where that is a huge issue, where like, why are you walking on that side of the street? Or why are you sleeping on that side of the bed?
Right.
Whichever is closer to the door.
Right.
Because that's typically where the man should be, or, according to men, because that is the first line of defense.
Right. Right. And
a woman should always be protected.
Right.
And by a woman walking on the outside of the street or sleeping on that side of the bed that's closest to the door, rather, is always you're putting that woman in the line of defense.
Right. I mean, I do the same thing with my kids.
Right.
I'm when we walk down the street, I'm like, you're on the other side.
The side, yeah.
So I have another comment that came in, and it's a pretty long one. It's from MJ. We appreciate your comments. We appreciate your viewership.
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry,
MJ.
I'm going to delete your face right now for this comment. But I just want to read this. He says, I'm a good father, brother, friend, etc. because I'm a good person. If you're not a good person, everything else is an act. Gotta know that. And I'm definitely a girl's dad. But my son is my best dude too. To be honest, I attract narcissists for right now. Don't know why. And they ask my opinion. I tell them that's not right. Why would you do this or that? But when you're cussing at your kids like they're grown, I don't do the drama either. I totally understand that. I do not cuss at my kids either, but I would definitely let them know what's up. Like, I don't hit my kids. I am not an abusive person with my kid. I don't believe in spanking. I don't believe in physical punishment at all, just because of how I was brought up. From the time that I was 11 to 18, I experienced physical abuse from my stepfather, and for physical, verbal, mental, emotional, whatever you can think of. And that just taught me to be a stronger person and what not to do with my kids, because I don't think it works. I don't think it teaches kids what they think that it teaches kids. It's like, I could never turn to my parents for anything. I couldn't go to them and be like, I have a problem with this guy at school, or I have a problem with a friend, or I have any kind of problem at all. I didn't want to go to them at all, for anything. And I've always taught my kids to come to me whenever that they have an issue. I promise them I would not get upset. I would not get mad. Yes, I do get emotional if they do come to me with something, and I do, because I'm a very emotional person. And if I'm pissed off and I'm mad or I'm sad or upset, it shows all over my face and I can't help it. But my kids know, like, I'm not going to be upset that they told me. I'm just going to be upset at the person, whoever did whatever they did to my kids. That kind of thing. So when they see me get upset about something that they tell me, I make sure, like, look, no, I'm not upset that you told me this situation. I'm so glad you told me this situation, but I'm about to beat that kid's ass. Or I'm about to, go up to your school and start some shit.
Call me. I'll come down to Florida and kick some kids' ass.
And I'm just like nobody fucks with my kids, because that's fuck with me. Fuck with me. Don't fuck with my kids. That's a whole different level.
I'm very protective. I have that 0 to 60 switch. So I'm like, when I'm with a woman or with her kids, I'm very easygoing, and I try to use reason to resolve conflict, and try to avoid problems if I see them coming. Like when I'm with a woman, if we're walking to the store, you know, if we're about to walk up or onto or off of a curb, I usually like put my hand on her back or something like that as a way of kind of indicating that there's a curb. I make sure that she stops before we cross the street, because sometimes if you're in the middle of the conversation, you just cross the street. But I try to be very conscious and very aware of that. But as passive as I am, there are certain things that, you know, I will get extremely like protective and territorial if you fuck with my people. I don't believe in astrology, but characters. We do have another question, which is about personality traits and how and what behaviors symbolize traits. And although I don't believe in astrology, you can use the zodiacs. If the zodiac symbol applies to you, then it can be a good representation. And I am kind of I'm a Leo, and I'm kind of a classic Leo. So I do have that. I'm very, I am arrogant, but I'm usually arrogant in a way that's helpful to people. Like I'm arrogant about my intellect, but my intellect is all based on self-help and trying to teach and improve people's lives. In the seven dwarves construct, I'm considered a doc, which is the same thing. Someone described my zodiac, because my Chinese zodiac is a dragon. I'm a Leo dragon, and they said you're a total egomaniac with a heart of gold. And I was like, that pretty much describes me to a T. And that kind of feeds into what I'm saying, is that I care very deeply about my people, but if you fuck with my people, I'm going to get, that lion. I take care of my pride very gently, but then if you fuck with me or fuck with them, I might get very, angry, and you won't like me when I'm angry, kind of thing. So usually I try to resolve things peacefully, with reason, and I'm very good at keeping my calm. But then there reaches a level of like, I can respond to words with words, but but I can respond to physical with physical. And once you get physical, or you start threatening my girl or her kid, then you have now reached, you've crossed the line.
Yep.
I would like to say before we end tonight, I just want to say as far as relationship expectations, I know we briefly touched this on the pre-show, and I apologize. Been drinking. For any woman or man that feel like they are being battered or abused or being told that they are not worthy enough, they are not right. You need to speak up for yourself and be mindful and listen to your own intuition. When somebody is telling you something, they are on some other page. So when somebody tells you that you are not worth it, then take that and run with it. But know that you are better than they are, 100%. So I'm going to take this out as I think we're closing out, I think, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That be worthy of yourself, love and respect yourself in every aspect of your life, and do not listen to what somebody else is telling you, because you are better than that. So 100%, because I just recently had somebody tell me that I was not good enough, and I said, fuck you, you'll be back.
Right. And you know what? Somebody who tells you that isn't even worth your time anymore. No matter if they want you back or not, like, you said what you said.
No, the fact the fact that they said that made it enough for me to know that you are not good enough for me, because you can't respect me enough. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
So bye.
Thank you for saying that. Because
That's true. Yeah.
Respect yourselves. Don't let anybody put you down for anything.
And again, it's reflective. You know, if you have any sense of integrity or dignity, any sense of self-respect, then that should reflect in the way that you treat others, and you should treat them with the same dignity and respect that you want to be treated for yourself. That's the sign of that's the mark of a mature and more emotionally healthy individual, as opposed to someone who is putting you down either because they're projecting their own insecurities on you, or because they view you as a means to an end. You're more like a possession who's there to serve them. And either which way, fuck them. They're not suitable.
Well, I'm not gonna say that the words didn't hurt, because they did.
Right.
But I know that I'm better than that.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're not
you can throw any words at me, whatever you want. They will hurt me, but I'm gonna come out better in the end. So
the words only make you a stronger woman.
Person, yes.
And that's it's just motivation.
So for the people for the women and men who speak down on their significant others or anybody else that they're in a relationship with, trust and believe you are the losers. Yep. You are the ones who are always going to lose in the long run. And the people who you are putting down and degrading, they're the ones that are going to become on top and better than you 100%.
And the men that want to do that cannot handle a strong woman like sweet. So don't even come at us, because you're gonna be shut down.
Shut down.
Well, I think a lot of men, some men,
insecure.
They want easy prey, and then other men want to, and like in the BDSM community, there's a lot of men who really want to dom the dom. They see a female dominatrix, and then they want to try to dom her as a way of expressing their superior manliness or whatever. And I'm not into bullshit games like that. When I look at a woman, we're equals. As far as I'm concerned, we're equals until proven otherwise. You know what I mean? It's like, so I always view it as equal partners, in a relationship. So tying that into the relationship expectations, I need you to be an equal partner for me, the same way I'm going to be an equal partner to you.
Equals. That is key, Ryan. I think that needs to be said like multiple occasions. Equal. Nobody is better than the other. We need to all be equal, and nobody needs to try to one up the other or try to be a better person than the other. You both need to be equal in your relationship, your being, and everything.
Mm-hmm. We have MJ says, know the God in you. Everything else falls into place.
Yes.
And we have a comment from Ryan. Hey again. Hi, Ryan.
Hey,
Ryan.
Because we're about to end the show. So our other Ryan, do you want to tell the viewers how they can get in touch with you, or you want to close out and say anything you want to promote?
Sure. So we did have another question, so you guys didn't want to get to that? You want to end with?
Yeah, we can do it another time, or we've already hit the 2.5 hour mark, so
yeah.
Well, for those of you who are didn't see the introduction, my name is Ryan CRC, and I'm a certified relationship coach and specializing in sexual education. I put out videos providing dating, relationships, and sex advice on YouTube and Facebook under the name Ryan CRC. I have an Instagram series called Better Sex in 60 Seconds, where I give quick sex tips to help improve your love life as well. That's under the name CRC Ryan. And I just recently published a book that you can get in electronic form or as a paperback book called Have Sex Longer. How men, it's basically 5 ways men can last longer in bed. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's just simple techniques that men can use to improve their longevity The longer they can last, the greater chance they have of pleasing a woman. So, but as for now, that's about it.
Ryan, I want a shirt shipped to me in Pennsylvania, by the way.
So
I need a booby popping shirt too.
This is the shirt.
Maybe a winterized version because winters in PA and Florida are very different.
Yes,
I want an I'm speaking tank top too.
Ryan made me this shirt. Okay. He showed it to me and I was like, I love it. I need one. I want one. And he made it for me and shipped it to me. And I just want to appreciate him for doing that.
Well, Ryan, I will buy one. So you send me the plug.
Well, this was my shirt that I made for me.
Oh, I love it.
Because I'm a big advocate of women's rights and women's equality. And when Camilla Harris said that, I was like, I fucking love that, you know. I love like every aspect. I love the confident way she said it, but with the subtle nuance of like, you know, I'm speaking.
Sit the fuck down, motherfucker. Yes. Yes. That's exactly how I took it.
But like Ryan and I have talked, you know, off camera and stuff. And, you know, I was like, well, I'm part of this Clockwatch group page. And I'm like the only woman on this panel. So I feel like, you know, maybe my voice isn't as heard as much as the men's. And most of our Clockwatch viewers and members in our group are men. So I feel like I'm not as heard as much. I need a t-shirt that says, you know, I'm speaking, I'm talking, I have a brain. I'm not just there for a sex appeal. I'm not just there for good looks. Like I have a voice and I have, you know, intellect that I need.
We are not just here for the sex, people. We are here for the intellectual and experience that we have done through our lives to and to pass it on to you.
as the male here, you know, I'm very attracted to strong women and intellectual women. Obviously, as you guys already know, I talk a lot, and I need a woman who can converse with me on equal levels.
Yes, Carlos, part 3. Yes, definitely.
I have trouble finding women who appreciate those qualities, you know, because you have to, it doesn't do me any good to like strong intellectual women if they don't appreciate the fact that I like that and then like me in return, or appreciate the fact that I like that quality in them. So I think that, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Women.
Boy, bye.
This comment right here.
You're crazy too.
Yeah,
so
we're
even
so freaking crazy.
Yeah.
So again,
I've been drinking. So rock.
So don't test her. don't test tweet.
No,
but yeah, it is
not today.
It is a reflection, and again, it's a mirror. So it's like, who are you, and do you want men to respect you and appreciate you for the substance that you have to offer,
or
not
vice versa, or vice versa.
Sure.
Let's definitely make sure we're touching on both sexes.
Right. That's exactly right. And you have to when someone gets you and when they appreciate you and respect you for who you are on a substantial level, your intellect, your humor, you know, and I like quirky things. I like women with like quirky facial expressions, for example, you know, and
so Ryan, can I interject? Because this is something I think that we should definitely talk about in maybe our next podcast is, when is giving too much?
Ooh, I like that.
When at what point are you giving too much into something that you're not being respected enough or appreciated enough? So that let us leave the night with that. Yes. And say we have so much more to offer with Ryan and his brilliance of expertise in a lot of aspects. We appreciate you being on again,
You
Ryan.
too.
And we appreciate everybody for watching and tuning in and commenting.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having
And
me. It was a
Box
joy.
Wine Fridays back.
We definitely appreciate you having on. I mean, I know our male and female viewers have learned so much from you. I know I have, and I'm sure Tweet has too. And we hope to
Definitely.
have you on the show again.
No, I would love to come back. I enjoy talking to you
So
guys.
keep that comment in because what I just recently said, because I'll probably forget that.
I know
but-
we have a couple of them that we're like,
Yes.
ooh, next show.
Yes.
Next show. Yes. Definitely have you on again. But I'm gonna close out the show right now. So
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.
Have a good weekend.
Little things
See you
right
next
here real quick.
Friday.
Power P on Friday nights at 8 p.m. So stay tuned for that. And we always have our email open up for you guys. If you guys have a question that you want to ask us, or you want to ask Ryan, or anything, like you can ask Ryan a question too. You can email us powerpwomen@gmail.com, and we'll have him on the show and we can answer those questions for you. He's very
I would be more than
Informative.
happy. And if you have, I know that you have another segment, like asking for a friend. So if someone really needs to be anonymous and they have a question, and that for me, and you can pass it on.
Yeah.
But just a little disclaimer: I'm not a doctor, so I can't answer medical questions. So if you have an embarrassing medical issue, you need to consult a doctor and not a sex educator. So, but if you want to learn how to have better orgasms, or you want to try to talk your man into fucking him in the ass or something. Like
who doesn't want better orgasms? Okay, I mean, come on, people. I know you guys want better orgasms.
Hello.
Everybody does. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed.
And a lot of people have questions like, oh, well, I did this and I did that. Is that normal? Or I felt this way, or I felt that way. I had a woman ask me, I just got out of my marriage, and there was this guy, and we had I ran into, and we had like a crush on each other in high school. And when we made love for the first time, I cried. Is that normal? And there's a lot of behaviors that people have, or that happens to them in sex and relationships and dating, and they don't know.
I have only cried once after sex.
I'd be like, fuck this, I'm out. You're crying. I'm weirded out. I'm bye.
No, I've only cried once, and that's because I was so emotionally involved. But again, I'm not.
Yeah,
so.
no.
By all means.
So, on that note,
Yep.
we have our
Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for tuning into Power P. We will see you next Friday.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Box Wine Friday.
definitely.
Love you all.
Be safe. Have fun.
Yes.